future of the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa remains in the balance after the National Working Committee of the ANC recommended to the Executive Committee that he should resign with immediate effect for violating the oath of office after allegations he kept millions of dollars in cash at his farm and then failed to declare it missing when it was stolen. Mr. Ramaphosa has denied all charges and has mounted an 11th-hour legal bid to block any possible impeachment process. Legislators are expected to vote tomorrow on whether there should be a vote to force him from office, which would require a two-thirds majority of the National Assembly, which could be unlikely after the ANC announced it will vote against the adoption of the panel's report.
Clarion call that Cyril Ramaphosa must go. He cannot be allowed to stay. He is putting the ANC into disrepute.
The National Working Committee made a determination that looking at the issues that will be discussed and the request made by the President, that consistent with practice, it is only fair that we recuse the President. So once he has delivered this political overview, we then allowed the President to leave the Working Committee. When we emerge out of this NEC, the Treasurer General would outline what is the position of the ANC to assure the citizens of this country that the ANC is still very much alive, and to outline and direct what our members of parliament are expected to do next year, tomorrow when they go to the National Assembly.
Well, for more on this, let's speak to Arise South Africa correspondent Mxolisi Masango, who joins us live from Johannesburg. Good to see you, Mxolisi. A lot of fast-moving parts today to this story. Put it in perspective for us. What's emerged so far? What's the latest?
Well, Charles, essentially I can tell you that everything is basically a mess as far as the matter of the president possibly stepping down is concerned. I mean, just in the last hour, of course, the ANC National Working Committee has recommended to the National Executive Committee that the president must resign with immediate effect. And we of course, went through that National Executive Committee meeting that happened today. And it continues that conversations around the president stepping down. And this is after that independent report that found that the president may have a case to answer to over the robbery at his Phala farm. Now, Parliament is also expected to debate the Section 89 report, Charles. And I don't know what to make of this, Charles, because first of all, now you have members of the ANC on the one hand saying that they are looking forward to this conference that is going to be happening next month, and saying that they're also supporting President Cyril Ramaphosa regardless of what is being said about him right now. And even quite bizarre to this whole thing that is currently happening here in the country is that now we're also having members of opposition parties who have also jumped the bandwagon to say that Ramaphosa will essentially not be the president that will deliver the Christmas message in the next 2 weeks. So you have, on the other hand, the opposition parties that are gunning for Ramaphosa to step down. On the other hand, you're having conflicted messages that come in the form of members of the ANC themselves, also, further sparking those factional debates that have been happening to say that there is one faction that is against Ramaphosa and want him out ahead of that all-important national elective conference, which is happening in about a week's time.
Well, that's very interesting indeed, Mxolisi, and I wonder what that tells us about how big a crisis the ANC itself is facing as a result of this, because some have suggested that this could be the beginning of the end for the ANC as a dominant party in South Africa.
Well, I can tell you right now that South Africans are quite fed up with the state of the ANC ANC, with the state of most parastatals. I mean, as we're having this conversation, we're still having conversations around the power crisis here in the country. Literally, when that National Executive Committee meeting was about to begin today, the lights went off, Charles. And then you have South Africans saying that they cannot even get their own house in order. And this is at a very important time where they should be, in a way, portraying that united front that they have been speaking about. You have all knives out right now. When you look at even the composition of the names of the list that have been put forward for leaders that are up for election at this upcoming National Elective Conference, they all marred in scandal, Charles. How are you expected to have South Africans who are going to be confident in a leadership that is able, to bring the country back?
Well, as you know, there we're talking to Mxolisi on the line, because once again this load shedding arrangement, and he mentioned the fact that the power cuts and so on, his power was cut just before we went on air, so we had to talk to him on the phone, and now his phone line has dropped, but we got the gist of it. In any case, I suppose one thing I wanted to know, for him to expand on, is how South Africans are reacting to all of this, because I mean, we hear of a lot of anger in some quarters where people are wondering why Mr. Ramaphosa was never charged, because they think that so much money, without having it declared to any financial institution, does kind of point to wrongdoing.